Alright, hello, and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and we have a lot of high impact news events on the calendar this week, with tomorrow's expected hawkish ECB and Friday's CPI numbers. So, the European Central Bank, the ECB, has confirmed that in July it wants to raise rates, and that is because they've got a fresh high of 8.1% on their CPI number. So to try to combat this ever-growing and ever-increasing inflation, they are going to do a 25 basis point hike. So that's that from the ECB. And we also have on Friday the CPI number, the CPI number, whatever you want to call it, for the US. So the big question for Friday's number is it going to be higher or lower? Is it going to be higher, signaling that the rate hikes are really having no impact, or is it going to be lower so that they can start to point at that and say, look, we're starting to tame inflation, starting to get it under control, and then they can set themselves up for this dovish pivot? So who knows? Nobody, but we'll keep an eye on it. I'll keep you up to date on that. Got plenty of news today. 87% of US merchants plan to accept Bitcoin and crypto within the next 2 years, according to a survey. So that's good. That's adoption. At the same time, Edge Wallet has launched the world's first KYC-free Bitcoin MasterCard. KYC standing for Know Your Customer. And if you've ever been through that process, you would have had to send like a driving license or a passport or something to an exchange, a photo of it, so that they can verify who you are before you're allowed to buy and sell Bitcoin or other cryptos on an exchange. What does this mean? Essentially, that you can get a MasterCard and retain some privacy. So that's fantastic. Got this from Root. Something is fundamentally different about the current halvings bear market. Bear market in quote marks there. And what is different is the illiquid supply painted in blue versus the Bitcoin price painted in pink. If you don't know what the illiquid supply is defined as entities that hold over 75% of the Bitcoin that they take in. So this is people that just buy it and hold on to it, or they hold on to at least 3/4 of it, rather than just sort of trade in short-term holders, whatever. These are people that take it off the exchanges and lock it down for a while. Long-term holders. You can see that during the 2018 bear market, both of these lines converged, and this time is indeed different because the illiquid supply is at all-time highs, whilst Bitcoin's price is where it is. So there's a massive gap between these two, and that's completely different to what we saw during the last bear market. I stumbled into this and I just thought it was quite interesting. El Flaco says that the day he moved to Turkey, €1 was 9.22 lira, Turkish lira, and today that same €1 is 18.44 lira, so that's 2x. One Bitcoin at the time was 84,000 lira, and today one Bitcoin is 520,970 lira, so 6 times. And he's saying that people here think that the euro and the US aren't trash because the lira is so much worse, but soon they will discover the truth. Soon they will discover good, he says. So this is absolutely true. I've said this before, that USD and euro, these are the biggest dying animals amongst an entire herd of sick dying animals. So they're just dying slower, but make no mistake, they are dying. This reminded me of, I didn't cover this, I was meant to, or just for some reason it just kind of escaped me. The Fed posted this. This is directly from the Fed's website. You may have seen this already. This is the average price of eggs, grade A large, cost per dozen. So a dozen large grade A eggs priced in Bitcoin. And they wrote this thing about how buying eggs with Bitcoins essentially is not really feasible, and that Bitcoin's not a very good inflation hedge because, as you can see, based on this chart, that whilst Bitcoin has been going net sideways for a year or two, the price of eggs has sort of been starting to outpace Bitcoin. So the summary they arrive at here is Bitcoin's not a good inflation hedge, and if you had to keep buying your eggs in Bitcoin, you'd have to spend more and more and more Bitcoin in order to buy the same dozen eggs. The problem with this is, and why it's so hilarious, is they cherry pick a small amount of data. If I zoom out here, okay, you can see that actually, if you bought Bitcoin a few years ago, eggs are nearly free, and if you bought them like 5 years ago, then eggs are free. Look at this. Look at this. So anyone that bought and held Bitcoin for 4 or more years, they don't have to pay for eggs anymore. They're completely free. So this argument is just absolutely nonsense. And I thought about this. You can literally do the same thing with pretty much any commodity. So this here is wheat, and you could easily look at a year's data. This is a year's data roughly, and just say, oh well, Bitcoin priced in wheat, you're losing money. You have to spend more and more Bitcoin to buy the same amount of wheat. And yeah, that's kind of true over a short period of time, but it's the same story. If I scroll out, look, wheat's free. If you bought Bitcoin and held on to it, well, you don't have to pay for wheat anymore. What about corn? Here again, oh no, bad inflation hedge Bitcoin because corn's getting more expensive priced in Bitcoin. No, not with a longer term view. Corn, like everything else, is free. I could do this all day. Pick a commodity, any commodity, and we'll zoom out and find that it's free, priced in Bitcoin, and things will continue to do this. So, I just thought that was kind of a hilarious way to. I don't know. They're trying to make some sort of point here, but I don't know. Anyway, got this here from Stock Money Lizards, and according to this, and according to Stock Money Lizards, the bottom is already in. We've already seen the bottom. So, I mean, it's possible. It's also possible that we got to retest the bottom. It's also possible we go a bit lower, but it's certainly also possible that we have seen the bottom, as we did here, and here we are again. So is this thing going to roll over, and is this thing going to go to new highs? Certainly on the cards, isn't it? T Analyst, where were you for the first bull run? Second, third, fourth, fifth? Will you be there for the sixth? T Analyst will. Let's take a look at this. Big bull runs, big bull runs, big bull runs, and now the point he's trying to make, I think, is whenever you get 2 red bars followed by a full green one, 2 red bars followed by a full green one. That's what we've just had. So, is this the start of the next bull run? He says the next few months. I could agree with that. The next few months, I do think we've got to make some sort of drop into the 4-year cycle low, and that could come anywhere between September, October, and possibly as late as early next year. So I do think we need to see that drop into it. Do we counter trend rally first and then drop into it? Hopefully that would be much easier to deal with. But the next few months, I think we're getting closer and closer to that bottom, aren't we? It basically all comes down to this Fed pivot. They've got 1 or 2 more token rate raises to make, and then it's time for their pivot, and all systems go to new highs. Senator Loomis, America has crossed the chasm, she says. Bitcoin will not be banned, and I agree, but you can't ban it even if you want to ban it, can you? They tried that in China, remember? They banned the mining, and a couple of months later they've recovered the hash rate, just spoofing their location, VPN, so on and so forth. So, once you've got a Bitcoin wallet, how does someone get it off you? Got another variant of the same chart here from T Analyst, just showing again, a couple of red bars, full green bar, couple of red bars, full green bar. One on this occasion, one on this occasion, and every time that lined up to the start of a bull run. So are we about to go on a big bull run? He's got a target here at 240k. I'll take that. I'm sure you will too. Trader J says, I'm not saying the indicator works 100%, but this indicator has successfully identified the bottom the last 3 times. So 1, 2, 3, and it's just printed again. Hopefully this time will be the same, he says. We will see, won't we? We will see. The US futures are turning flat for the day. Take a look at some charts. There's going to be some games played, some stops run, all sorts of choppiness because we have got the CPI numbers and blah 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 this week. So there's a lot for the market to take in and digest. We'll see what happens, but for now, formed like some sort of bull flag. I hope. I don't know. Let me be clear about that. I don't know. I never know anything, but hopefully we can get a push to the upside. There ought to be some legs left in this move. I mean, whether it gets stopped out here slightly between the two, hopefully I can make it up to this blue line for my target. But I've decided that especially if we can get into this neighborhood, I'm just going to take the trade. I'm going to take it. Can't talk. I'm going to take the profit when I get up here. If we can get up here, I'm just going to take it and then look to possibly flip short. And if I take the profit here and it moves higher and then breaks out, I'll re-enter on the trendline break, just exactly the same setup as down here. We've spent too much time messing around here for me to think about adding here, so it's just getting a bit late. But that's the plan for now. So we'll look to see if we can get up here. If we can, we take the profit, and then if we break this and go to new highs on a pivot, then just long it again, same setup as down here. And if not, we'll be looking to trade to the downside. So maybe that's getting ahead of ourselves, but that's my thinking on that at the moment. Gold is still inside this wedge, happy days. I'm not going to lie, it looks a bit like it wants to roll over and come down here a bit. Maybe it's going to roll over here and bounce again, I don't know. But for now it's in the wedge, so I don't care about it, I'm happy. Silver is under some pressure, isn't it? This is starting to look a bit rounded for my liking. It's not the same angle as that, not the same angle as this. You know, usually we see a good strong counter trend move. We've got kind of a weak one. The angle here is close to sideways, frankly. So not the kind of strength I was hoping for, but we're still in. We'll continue to push this trade. You know, the money is made by pushing the trades, not by jumping out now or second guessing the market. I don't know. So I let my stop worry about that, and we'll just keep pushing this as much as I can. Bitcoin, still sideways, isn't it? I just say this every day pretty much. Pull the fractal down and go, look, it's still sideways, still sideways. Of course, we've got to be open to this breakout move, which would be super bullish. I guess also we got to be open to it just sideways into around the 7th of July time frame. We've also got to be open to, I guess, some sort of move down to test the lows, or maybe a drop in the worst case scenario into this cycle low. But for now it's sideways. Sideways has been working out for us, hasn't it? Sideways is probably the best read we got on this at the moment. So sideways it is. I'll continue to update as and when I have something to say. Quick look at the dollar. Is this up or down? Looks like it wants to roll over, but I still think we need to come up and make a little high. However, I think the thing that's catalyzing this downfall for the dollar at the moment is, look at this. This is the euro dollar. The euro has formed this massive bottom. If I keep zooming out, I could probably draw like a box in this region somewhere like that. So you can see that, does this go all the way back? Let me go to our weekly chart, venture out. Yeah, look at that. Perfect touch. Perfect resistance. So this is significant. This is a big level for the euro. Reset this chart so we can see what's going on. And apparently we've come back, tested it, bounced off of it, and I mean, does that look bearish to you? That looks quite bullish to me. Looks like we've formed a flag, come down, now we're rounding, looking to make a new high. So of course, if the euro is going to break out against the dollar, the Dixie is likely going to come down. So is this the lower high? I don't know. I don't know anything, as I always say, but it's getting interesting, isn't it? It's certainly getting interesting. Perhaps this week we get a weird CPI print and a bit more Fed hawkishness in the short term, and maybe that's what sends this up a bit. Maybe that's what gets the dollar bid for a while. We will see. But as always, I know nothing. I just kind of look at what's in front of me and try to deal with it as best I can. So I hope you found value here today. If you want to see me continue to deal with these markets in real time, make sure you subscribe, turn the notifications on, drop a like on the video, help me out. Follow me on Twitter if you want to see anything from me there. And until tomorrow, I wish you all the best. Take care. Cheers.